Tonight, we begin at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, where your buddy Joe Biden is headed back to the basement. His 2024 re-election bid is officially now underway, so I guess that means we can expect to see a lot less of Joe than usual. And by the way, it's official. He has given fewer press conferences than any other president in the last 40 years. And according to NBC News, it will be several months before he even holds one single campaign event, and no doubt those events will be few and far between. He didn't even hold a rally to kick off his campaign today. Instead, the Biden camp, they released a heavily edited, pre-produced video attacking, of course, MAGA Republicans while attempting to make Joe look lucid and capable. In other words, everyone around him knows that he is cognitively incapable of making such an announcement without screwing it up. But that is a preview of coming attractions. Now, while Republicans shake hands, kiss babies, take selfies, they do press avails, town halls, speeches, put out position papers, hold rallies, attend debates. Joe Biden will be hiding in his bunker while his campaign floods the airwaves with negative ads and negative campaigns. And by the way, Biden's campaign strategy is to be out of sight, out of mind, and it is unclear how he's going to run another basement bunker campaign because he doesn't have COVID as an excuse like last time. Democrats, they have no other choice. They see Joe is simply too weak, too frail, such a cognitive mess that he cannot pull this off without it becoming a political disaster. As of now, 7 out of 10 Americans do not want Joe Biden to run for a second term. A majority of Democrats, they prefer somebody else. And according to a Harvard-Harris poll, nearly 60% of voters have doubts about Biden and his mental fitness, and nearly 70% say that he's too old to be president. Now, here's the very liberal editorial board. I don't often quote the New York Times. They don't particularly like me. Biden should take voters' concerns about his age seriously. The New York Times is saying this. The article notes what is a glaring omission in Biden's most recent physical, quote, his cognitive abilities went unmentioned. The Times continues, if he runs again, Mr. Biden will need to provide explicit reassurance to voters. Many of them have seen family members decline rapidly in their 80s. But mark my words, there will never, ever, ever be any explicit reassurance at all. He's already refused to take a cognitive test and publish the results. You might recall that President Trump did the very same thing, passed with flying colors. His results were great. Everybody knows that Joe Biden would not do well because he's a cognitive wreck. You don't have to be a brain surgeon. For example, here he is today attempting to attack Republicans. Take a look.
The Speaker, the former President, and the MAGA extremists are cut from a different cloth. They treat these folks, and they think they're a threat. They think that somehow we're going to go back. The threat that MAGA Republicans pose is to take us to a place we've never been.
That's the best they can produce. Now, it gets worse. A short time later, Biden attempted to describe America's supply chain. Take a look at this.
Folks, look. Think how many people had no idea what the heck a supply chain was. No, I'm serious. You said two and a half years ago, well, the supply chain, people look at, I mean, really bright people. Look at well, guess what? Because of the pandemic, when factories shut down in Asia, they had no idea they were supplying essential material to us.
I'm serious. Come on, man. Now, does that seem like a guy who fully grasps the complexities of the supply chain crisis in the country? Now, this is what you also have to remember. China, President Xi, Russia, Putin, Iran, the mullahs, Kim Jong-un, North Korea, and all our allies, they're all watching this. Now, his troubles don't end there. Apparently, Joe is totally detached from reality. Now, today, he proudly announced that his economic plan is a massive success, except for all the bad things that are actually happening that have nothing to do with him. Take a look.
I know folks are also struggling with inflation. The first pandemic disrupted the supply chain, causing prices to rise across the board. Putin's war in Ukraine disrupted energy supplies and food supplies. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than any advanced country on earth. For the same exact drug. Our economic plan is working. We now have to finish the job, but there's more to do.
All right, Joe Biden is 80 years old. He's been in Washington in the swamp now for over 5 decades. He needs just a little more time to perfect his economic vision. Just 4 more years, that's it. Now, in reality, Biden does represent everything that is wrong with Washington. His economic, his energy policies, they have caused economic troubles for almost every American. He is a career politician, a longtime grifter. He takes his responsibilities for nothing. He blames Trump for everything. He's really never worked a single day in the private sector that we know of in his life, unless you count his role atop the family Biden syndicate that made a ton of money. But despite a variety of LLCs and shell corporations, that syndicate is not really a private entity, is it? Since Biden's public office is the sole commodity of the syndicate. Now, we have many more developments on this coming up in a moment. But beyond the blatant corruption, Biden is known around town for 3 things: lying, cheating, incompetence. He's a plagiarizer, a serial liar, an ego bigger than his own brain. And worst of all, to quote former President Obama, don't underestimate Joe Biden's ability to F things up. As President Biden, humiliated America in Afghanistan. He failed to deter Vladimir Putin in Europe. He won't hold China accountable for anything, not COVID, not the giant spy balloon that floated all over Alaska and the continental U.S., collecting secret data about our nuclear capabilities right in plain sight. And meanwhile, Biden pumps so much money into the economy that inflation reached a 40-year record high and is still going up. He also restricted oil and gas production in this country. That caused energy prices and the price of everything you buy in every store you go to skyrocket. And, of course, energy dependency on countries that we all know hate our guts. And despite all of his vaccine and mask mandates, more Americans died from COVID under Biden's first year, under his watch, than under Donald Trump. And let's not forget the crisis at the border. America's immigration system is a train wreck, and he seems to want it that way because he's inviting people in. He's not enforcing the laws of this country. And speaking of that supply chain, that's a train wreck. The energy grid is a train wreck. The economy is a train wreck. America is less safe, less secure, less prosperous. And now Joe Biden wants to be, rewarded with another term? I think America deserves better. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.